Hi guys, the topic of the video is still encryption. I've made now 3 videos about encrypting. Not that it's for me a priority, but that can be for you, right? That's the beauty of Linux choice. I've done an ArcoLinux video 3281 about encrypting. So Calamaris, and then tell Calamaris, hey, I want to encrypt this thing. What does that mean? If you boot up, you get a black screen and it asks your password. Without password, it won't continue and nobody can get at your data. That's kind of the point, right? So keeping aware and keeping in mind what the password is crucial. So one video is about Calamaris doing its work. So that contains projects like ArcoLinux, that contains projects like ALCI, that contains projects like Carly, because it's all Calamaris. It's one thing, it's one story. It will of course also entail all the others that use Calamaris, like KOS, like EndeavourOS, like Garuda, right? It's Calamaris, the tool. Next thing is archlinux.org. The ISO from ArcoLinux has a particular script called arch install, and we show you how to install ArcoLinux on a system, plus Cinnamon, plus SDDM, because we had nothing. It was a black screen, right, when we log into, but it was encrypted. And then some fun for me, right? Afterwards you rise things. You're gonna install a wallpaper and icons and all that. Last thing that I woke up with this morning is we have still one project more, and that's a riser. A riser is also an ArcoLinux ISO. It's keeping as close as possible to Arch. So the files and everything that's on the ISO is pure Arch, and there's a folder, an extra folder that runs scripts. So basically, in comparison, it stands next to Arch install. So this is a way to use a script to install an operating system, and this is a way to install an operating system with the Alice project from Pico, right? It's not from me, it's from Pico. Want something more? Here it is. Issues, ask something, and you'll get. So the topic is, I'm gonna go and download an riser, right? Files. I've built this morning one to test, right? So you have the newest version available on here. And we're gonna play with it. We're gonna say, this time around, I do want to have encryption. And because we have now 3 videos, we can see how fast do we boot up in Calamaris, how fast do we boot up in ArcoLinux if we use Arch install, and how fast can we boot up inside a riser and compare, because it's recorded on the video, simply and clearly. Right, so a riser template, clone. Of course, I've built it locally, so I'm not getting it from the internet, but I'm getting it from my shared folder, ArcoLinux. So the name is clearly intended as a pure Arch, and it is. If you look at it, it's the same grub that we all get, right? This is a UEFI grub thing, okay? And you put up as usual in Arch. One reference, one bit difference being that the project Ariser has scripts, and they're pre-configured and set to XFCE, set to X4 and so on. But I can, and that's fun, I can change it on the fly, right? So can you. Now in my case, or in your case, you'll have to do a little bit more work. And that's why we made a video about it as well. Maybe we should go there first. So if you want to really set a riser to your hand, we've had a new video and a new menu, build your own ISO, and we've dubbed the ISO area, an acronym of a riser, right? And here we choose to have X4, yes, some swap file, I believe, and Plasma. We could choose anything, and under 60 minutes you make your own ArcoLinux with your own settings, and then it's just running what I'm doing now. That's running Alice. So if you type Alice, the scripts start. Let us install Arch, wait long enough so that pacman init service is finished. If you don't know what it is, then you're just too soon trying to comprehend this project, and you do it later, or first find out, hey, what is pacman init, what's that all about, right? Do you want to get the last GitHub code, which is interesting, right? Internet required. So the ISO can be 6 months old, doesn't really matter, because you're gonna git clone it. So you say yes, nothing will happen, it's exactly the same thing, but in 6 months from now there will be new code. So you're getting the new code on an old ISO and everything will work. Shall we start the ls script? In this case I will say no, because standard, the configuration of ls is set not to encrypt. Where am I? Present working directory, root. Okay, can I go to the folder ls? Sure. What's in there? A lot of scripts. All the white things are the configuration things, right? ls.conf. So nano ls.conf. The configuration of ls says that my keys, and here all these things are matter, of course. This is Azerty for Belgium. And that's why we gave you a video area. You need to change all these things. You figure it out. What is it called in Arch? This keyword that I have in this part of the world. And somewhere here down here it says Lux password, right? The Lux password is gonna be Eric. Or you can type ask and then I will ask it, but I rather have everything like this, so I don't need to stay at my computer. I can run ls and walk away. That's the point. So I told him that the Lux password is Eric, Lux password retype, Control X, yes, please. That's saved, and the script to start everything is the .ls. So you have to remember just the word ls basically. So if you run this thing, it's gonna read my configuration that I've changed on the fly on the system here. And I've chosen to have a boot and a root, no home, exclamation mark 3 means there will be no home. Yes, and off it goes. So it's going to, sometimes if you have some luck, you'll see, okay, Lux, and here we see already crypt, setup, keys, and so on, key file, Lux format, type Lux2. So that's an interesting thing that we know this is a type Lux2. I believe Calamaris is a type Lux1. But in the end, right, as a user, as an end user, the only thing that I want to know is, well, does it work? That's one thing. And then compare, okay, Calamaris does it this way, Arch install does it that way, and now this ls does it that way. But in a sense, in seconds, how long does it need to boot up after typing the password? Then you count and say, okay, this feels faster or not. It's up to you to decide. It's something I'll test, but it's something I'll never use. And this is the fun, right? The ls project from Pico is automated, is unattended. And you remember those projects in Windows that you can make an unattended Windows system that you say pop it in, boom, and everything is installed. Great. This is something similar, right? Unattended. I just have to type ls, go, run, and then he executes basically something that's on the GitHub. Here we're going to tell him, hey, I'm living in Belgium, but Sweden, Norway, Netherlands, Belgium, France, and Germany, so the countries around me, and the countries which I know are fast, like Sweden has Osbeck server in it. But since sometimes Sweden is not reachable for whatever reason, right? I've put in some more countries, so we always have a server. No server, no downloads, no internet, no downloads. Everything stops. That's gonna be your challenge, maybe. Again, ArcoLinux is all about learning, venturing your way into something that's over your head that you say, oh my god, back to Windows. Don't, right? Small steps, we call them baby steps. Crawl first, step or walk, and then run, but not too soon. Don't start projects too soon and then blow off Linux, because give Linux a chance, but with a proper learning experience for step 1, step 2, step 3. That's what we try to achieve in ArcoLinux gradually, over the years, gradually, video by video, learn something more. In here we've set the machine to reboot automatically. You can say yes or no for rebooting. And basically, if you really are away from your computer, you just come back and you say, oh, nice, my computer is installed. Well, by default, we set it to systemd boot rather than grub. Choices, right? And here we get, please enter passphrase for disk root crypt root, press tab for no echo. You have to type it correctly and then enter. You can't just go backspacing or whatever, right? It needs to be correct. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, 6 seconds. I believe the others were around 8, but we can do another try later on. And this is your system. What do we have? We have a system based on, let's do that again. So def mapper crypt root is the file system, ext4 here, and the boot folder is vfat, not encrypted. And that's the information we got. Neofetch with an arch. That's the version, and that's the date, and everything works. Let's do another reboot. So shutdown, let's do shutdown, and I'll pop out the ISO. All I'm here for is seconds, right? That's all I'm here for. I'm not gonna learn about encrypting because doesn't concern me, doesn't interest me. So ArcoLinux, enter. Then we get the passphrase, and now I'm start counting. If I do enter, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish. Yeah, okay, more or less the same, it seems. Et voila, we're back in business. Are we back in business? Yeah, it's the default arch, XFCE, right? Maybe you want to see some files. Voila, those are the files we get from XFCE, just XFCE4 and XFCE4 goodies, which are group packages, and that's what you get. This is what I want, right? Meld and Sublime Text, that's extra. This is what I want. Firefox, that's extra, and all the rest is just XFCE, normal XFCE. What I'll do is run get nemesis. That's it. The ArcoLinux nemesis scripts will be run afterwards, and I have an operating system. It's as simple as that. All right, cheers.